Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture is My Life. Now, today's episode should be quite interesting for many of you around the world. Why? Because mental and emotional disorders are skyrocketing globally. And I've been speaking to many of my colleagues within the Acupuncture is My Life network globally. And they're saying the same. They can attest to that as well. Now, I was in a conference 2 days ago with them, and I'm talking about acupuncturists from 71 different countries. Very interesting virtual session, pretty cluttered, but very, very interesting. And part of the discussion was on the spike in mental and emotional disorders. And I decided, all right, today in this episode, I want to talk about the power of positive thinking, because many individuals are unaware that what you're thinking, what you're actually thinking at this actual moment, could be aging the hell out of your body, and you do not know it. Negative thoughts are actually super powerful and detrimental to the human body, detrimental to your health. Let's take, for instance, what can we take? Depression. Now, depression is inevitable. Everyone faces that at certain periods or a certain point or points in their life. But the key is, how long do you remain in this form of depression that you're experiencing? And it varies, all right? Because what can depress one person can have no effect on the other. And this is all relative. And this is why I say, in seeing an acupuncturist, we treat everyone's constitution as unique in and of itself. Because what may affect you in a negative way may empower me, and vice versa. But the key here is harboring negative thoughts. Many individuals are unaware. It tends to lead to premature cell death, which expedites the aging process. And I know some of you are going to reach out to me over the Acupuncture is My Life app to ask me to expand on it. I mean, I know I really do want to say, sit with an acupuncturist to go into detail, but just briefly, the lifespan of a cell is determined, okay, by what is called a telomere. Now, a telomere is a certain type of cellular structure, and it protects genetic data, and it helps in cell division. And this is how the legacy of cells, or a particular cell, continues on. But each time a cell divides, that telomere will shorten, and eventually it'll die off. Now, here's what's key. Individuals suffering from depression, especially long-term depression, have shorter telomeres. Now, I'm going to stop there and say, see an acupuncturist. And I know a lot of you are pissed off because I cut it short. But see an acupuncturist if you're suffering from depression. Other negative thoughts that can expedite the aging process is like hostility. Okay. Now, hostility in a sense, like you ever experience road rage, someone cuts you off, and now you got these thoughts that, you want to do something to them that's real bad. Okay? And trying to tame that thought is difficult. It's not easy. It's very difficult. It's more exciting to think about how you can pay someone back in a really bad way for their transgressions. But the key is you have to know how to keep your cool. And mastering that art, avoiding these hostile thoughts and staying away from hostile environments, just controlling hostility can add years to your life, believe it or not. And now it goes back into affecting the telomeres of a cell. Why? Because hostile thoughts can shorten these cellular structures. Again, leading to premature aging of the cells as well as your body. Yeah. I've done episodes on how effective acupuncture can be in treating mental and emotional disorders. Just go back and look at a few. This episode, I may not get into like how chi and blood and body fluids are affected and yin and yang is affected and so forth. I just want to stick with certain types of thoughts that's like shortening your life. Seriously. Another cynicism. You have to understand. This is why I'm always saying, like, see a physician annually. Do an annual checkup. Know what's going on with your health with a physician. But make regular wellness visits with an acupuncturist. This is important. But another type of thought that's shortening your life is cynicism. When you're mistrusting or doubting people's motives, and sometimes in some cases it's understandable, or being skeptical about new ideas. Many individuals allow for cynicism to get the best of them. And again, it's another thought process that's going to shorten your lifespan. Take, for instance, like men that are cynical. They actually don't know it, but they increase their risk of heart attacks and strokes in comparison to less skeptical guys or men. So now imagine if you're walking around dealing with a combination of hostility and cynicism. Like, boom, you're doubling the blow in which you're going to face, or the telomeres of your cells that are going to face, because it's going to negatively impact, shorten the lifespan of your cells. And individuals who experience high levels of cynical hostility tend to suffer from depression, as well as experience higher levels of cardiovascular disease, metabolic disease, and they tend to die at younger ages. Interesting, isn't it? Another negative thought that can shorten your life is pessimism. Walking around expecting the worst of everything from people around you, or even to your own health. Like you'll simply have let me create something. Stomach cramp. and you'll walk into an Acupuncture My Life clinic thinking you have stomach cancer, and this is what you're expressing to the acupuncturist at Acupuncture My Life clinic in New York City. And you don't. It can just simply be due to dehydration or a deficiency in a certain mineral or several other things. Optimism is important. Because pessimism has been proven to affect cell life. And you see, pessimism tends to be, and this is like gender neutral, men and women, right? It tends to be heavily related to poor health, in a sense, like let's say if someone who's extremely pessimistic develops cancer or some type of heart disease, their sickness tends to progress at a faster rate, and it's hard to cure, to save them. It's much, 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 much harder. You understand? And that's an interesting reality. You have to understand something. Health is wealth. The wealth isn't in a bank or a safe or cryptocurrency account. And it's definitely not in an app on your phone. Okay? The wealth is not in your wallet, purse, or your pocket. And the wealth definitely isn't under the doghouse in your backyard. It's not under your mattress or in a shoebox in a closet. The wealth is in you. That's what the wealth is. But guess what? Another type of thought that can be shortening your lifespan. Rumination. And when I say shortening your lifespan, I'm basically saying it's aging the crap out of your body. It's killing off, shortening cell life, and which isn't good. And one of the negative thoughts is rumination, where you're stuck in this type of rut. Okay? You're over-analyzing a certain situation that went bad just to find a better response. That type of reflection is healthy. But if you're over-analyzing that same situation over and over, something that happened, let's say, about 15 years ago, that's rumination, and it's not good. And it's heavily tied to anxiety and depression. And that type of miserable and purposeless agonizing tends to increase a person's cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, and it tends to elevate their heart rate. It's not good. What else? I would even say suppression. Like burying your feelings. If you feel a certain way, express it in a healthy and safe manner, though. Let it out. You ever hear that saying? Even if you want to cry or whatever the case is, just let it out. But suppressing thoughts and negative emotions shorten cell life. See, if you're experiencing these things, even if your mind wanders, like you're daydreaming and your mind just wanders, this is an indication, let's say, of lack of engagement with your own life and even certain tasks that are in front of you. And it expresses as a measure of dissatisfaction, and it affects cell life. Premature aging. You're experiencing any of this, get to an acupuncturist right away, because you're not aware of what is being done, how these negative thoughts are impacting you, how it's expediting the aging process. And you can change all of that. You have the power to change that simply by making acupuncture a part of your life. Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?